Hello everyone, welcome back to the Gamers Lounge, and this is your host, Michael. Yes, your host. Yeah, you know, I see this as my own little show. Well, yes, you've got two racing game reviews in quick succession. Now, this is ExoCross, and I'm going to say this at the very beginning of this review to save people scrolling to the end of it. This is a message to the developers, iRacing. If you're scouring YouTube to see what other people think of your game, you have got a winner on your hands here. This is one of the best games that has been released this year, one of the finest racing games I've ever played, and I don't say that lightly. And you truly have a winner, so I'm going to explain why that is. So we're going to get straight into it. First of all, these are your various modes. They speak for themselves. I don't need to go into them. We'll go into quick race so you can get an idea. Now, here are your four different zones. As you can see there, you've got your token ice level, and of course you've got Ultima there, which has got the planet Saturn in the background. Really cool. Let's choose this zone here. Let's choose that one. Now, you've got three cars to choose from. You've got the beginner, the intermediate, and the advanced. Now, those three words pretty much speak for themselves because it determines how difficult it is to control these monster vehicles. Now, without delving deep into story modes, there isn't a story as such. There is more of a raison d'être, as they say in French, and ragione d'essere, as we say in Italy. Basically, just to cut it short, the Earth is a no-go, so you're racing on other planets, and the rest I'll leave it up to you to sort of enjoy the little bit of story mode and story chunk when you play Championship. Now, let's choose the beginner. Oh, by the way, you can customize your vehicle. You can change the color. I've got my Italian flag in the left-hand side there, and my lucky number 12. And there you have it. So we're going to choose this. We're going to get straight into it. Right, now the first thing to strike you is the visuals. They are superb, as you can see. The game is very smooth. The tracks look really impressive. Now, what's happening here, you can see that the actual vehicles are driverless, so as far as the story goes, you're not physically in the driver's seat. You're controlling these vehicles remotely, and you're doing it from the comfort of your own home, so you're not physically in the thick of it, but you are, kind of thing. Kind of a bit like, you know, racing remote control cars. You're holding a controller and you're controlling these model vehicles. It's very similar here, just that these are not little ones, they're full size. And I will mention the soundtrack, as I always do in these games. The soundtrack is beautiful. It suits the game perfectly. Now, very importantly, how does it play? Well, without me going too much into technical detail here, it adopts a 4 CPT technology. What it is, it's soft tire physics, and also it simulates chassis and suspension. So the game is not a simulation by any means, but it's as close to as humanly possible without alienating newcomers. So basically, it's not your really difficult, unforgiving simulation like, you know, the WRCs of this world. You know, for 8, 9, and 10 were really, really tough. Rally 4, well, enough said. In that game, I can't even keep the vehicle straight, no matter how hard I try. With this one, it simulates oversteer and understeer very well. You've got some really good vehicle physics here, and rather than frustrate you and cause you to throw your controller across the room, it keeps you coming back for more, because the game is such quality. It could be because of the atmosphere of it, because of the premise that you're racing on different planets instead of on Earth. And the backgrounds are really cool, the trees are fantastic, the otherworldly flora is really good. If you look in the sky carefully, yeah, you can see there's a planet there. There you are. It looks a bit like Saturn. You see it? You have to look carefully. Now I'm going to go into another track now. Don't worry, it'll take no time at all. Look at that. Loading times on the PS5. By the way, I'm running this on the PS5. They're practically non-existent. You just switch tracks, switch modes, and it instantly takes you there. I haven't tried the online portion of it yet because I'm not a really big online player, but I intend to. Now, I think there's very little that's cooler than racing on a track on another planet where the thing that's decorating the skies is the planet Saturn. Look at that. Isn't it fantastic? It's really surreal. Now, there aren't any weather effects, there aren't any times of day, from what I've seen so far. There's a little bit of condensation that appears on the screen to simulate, I guess, moisture in the air because of a climate, or if you splash through a puddle. But there you go. So the trackside detail, I'm not going to say it's sparse, it's interesting. If you think about it, you're on a planet that isn't Earth, it's just very similar to Earth. But it isn't, and it shows. So they've nailed that visually. The devs have actually got onto a really interesting thing here. So like I said at the beginning, definitely, if you're racing game fans, you shouldn't hesitate for 1 minute. This is a 9-10 out of 10 job. It's really one of the finest racing games I've played, and I don't really say that a lot about racing games. I can really enjoy them and say how great they are, like, you know, the Forza Horizons of this world and the WRCs and the Formula Ones. I would ask those games to politely step aside and let this peacock show off its feathers, because this is really one heck of a ride. Now, I have turned down the engine sounds in favour of the soundtrack because of the challenging nature of the game. The soundtrack has to be a little bit more relaxing and chill out, and it is. It's just there. It's shifting away gently in the background, and you know, it's just there. It's chill out. You haven't got this rousing, super fast metal rock soundtrack here. You've just got something that suits the game perfectly, a bit like in my previous review of Distance. That soundtrack suits it perfectly. But these songs are great, absolutely great. There's that moisture on the screen there, look. Now the other thing, you have a boost button, which if you press X and keep it held, the car will boost forward. Now, the type of boost is not your typical arcadey style boost that propels you forward so you go screaming past the other opponents. It's not. It gives you a gentle to moderate boost. Let's say, for example, you're jostling with the other cars and you're close to the finish line. That little bit of boost might help you. If you slot yourself between two vehicles, one in the front, one in the back, if your boost is depleted, it'll recharge it. So you need to be doing a bit of drafting. And there you have it. This particular song's kind of reminiscent of the 80s synth music, isn't it? It's really cool. There you have it. So, well, you know, I recommend this game wholeheartedly. It is easily a 10 out of 10 job. That handling is not going to alienate people, even if you're a complete newcomer. This is not a simulation. Oh, incidentally, speaking of which, the game has some accessibility settings. Now, I've got them turned up to maximum, but only because I was trying to see the difference between having them off and having them on. Now, if you don't have any of the assists on, the game is even more challenging, but yet still not to the point where it's going to make you think, right, I hate this, I'm going to turn it off and go play Forza Horizon. It's not that kind of game. This keeps you coming back because you think, no, I want to perfect that run. I want to get better. And I've had first place in this game only about 3 times. So it does make you fight for it, but don't think it's going to frustrate you. It's not. This is truly one of the finest racing games ever. If you remember back in the days of the PS3, when you played MotorStorm, now how fantastic was that? It had realistic physics. It was difficult, but it wasn't overly frustrating. You just had to get used to it, how it handled, finding shortcuts, knowing when to boost and when not to over boost because you'll overheat your vehicle so it blows up. Use your boost liberally when you go through puddles. It's that kind of thing. You've just got to know what you're doing here. But believe me, it's very, very satisfying and truly brilliant. Top marks. iRacing, you guys rock. 10 out of 10. Okay, well, hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it's helped you make your mind up. Enjoy. Ciao, ciao.